welcome back to our channel. Find hidden coin treasures with Y Coins. Hit subscribe and start collecting. The 1985 USA 1-cent penny may seem like just another coin in your pocket, something you might casually find in your spare change, but beneath its humble exterior lies a story of history, craftsmanship, and, surprisingly, immense value. It's easy to overlook pennies. They're small, often tossed aside, or forgotten in jars or drawers, but this particular penny is anything but ordinary. Let me take you on a journey through the fascinating history and significance of this coin, as we unravel why a single 1985 penny might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. It all begins in 1985, a year that many might associate with a time of economic changes, cultural shifts, and significant events. The world was adjusting to the rise of personal computers, with Apple and Microsoft becoming household names. It was also a time when people were still listening to vinyl records, and movies like Back to the Future and The Breakfast Club were taking over the silver screen. But while pop culture was making waves, something subtle and unnoticed was happening in the world of numismatics. Coin collectors were starting to spot something unusual about the 1985 1-cent penny. For decades, the penny had been a fixture of American currency, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front side. But the design had evolved over the years, influenced by both artistic trends and historical events. The 1985 penny continued to feature the image of President Lincoln, but what really set this year apart was a small, yet crucial detail that would later spark the interest of collectors. Certain pennies from this year were struck with a special, rare error that would make them highly sought after. At first, these pennies appeared like any other. It wasn't until years later that the coin's true worth began to emerge. But before we get into why this particular penny is so rare, let's first take a step back and appreciate the design and history of the penny itself. The penny has been a part of American currency since the late 18th century, but the current design we recognize today was introduced in 1909. The iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, made its debut on the penny to mark the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design has remained largely unchanged, with only a few minor alterations over the years. In 1959, for example, the reverse side of the penny was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, replacing the previous wheat stalks design that had been on the back since 1909. Fast forward to 1985, and the penny had undergone many changes, yet the basic design remained steadfast. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, and the obverse still depicted Lincoln's familiar face. But in 1985, something unexpected happened in the minting process. A small number of pennies were struck with a subtle error that would go on to intrigue collectors. What makes the 1985 penny so special is that some of these coins were minted with an accidental doubling of the date. This error, which occurred during the minting process, is known as a doubled die variety. Essentially, what happened was that the die used to strike the coins experienced a misalignment, causing the date on the penny to be struck twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect. This error was relatively rare, and at first, it was easy to overlook. The doubled digits are subtle but distinct enough for a keen-eyed collector to spot. When you look at these pennies under magnification, you'll notice that the 8 in the date is doubled, and the 5 is also clearly showing some additional detail. The misalignment was a small mistake, but it was a mistake that made these pennies extremely valuable in the eyes of numismatists. As the years went by, collectors began to catch on to this error. Initially, only a few avid coin collectors knew about the 1985 double die penny, but as word spread, interest began to grow. The rarity of these error pennies made them highly desirable, and they began to change hands for significant sums of money. What made the 1985 penny even more intriguing was the fact that it wasn't an error that was widely produced. It was an anomaly, meaning that only a small number of pennies had the doubling effect. Now, if you're wondering how much a 1985 penny can actually be worth, here's where the story gets even more exciting. When it comes to rare and error coins, the value is often determined by the degree of the error, the coin's condition, and the current market demand. For the 1985 double die penny, the value varies depending on these factors. However, a well-preserved example of the 1985 double die penny can fetch impressive amounts. Some coins have sold for several $100s, while others have commanded tens of thousands. But that's not all. There is one particular 1985 penny that has stood out as one of the most valuable in existence. This penny, a gem in the world of numismatics, was graded as being in mint condition, and its doubling effect is so clear and pronounced that it stands as a shining example of the rarity of these era coins. When it hit the market, it sold for an astonishing amount, an amount that left the world of coin collectors in awe. This specific 1985 penny, a perfect specimen of the double die variety, was sold for $128,000, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold at auction. Can you imagine? A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, now commands a price of over $100,000. This staggering figure highlights the incredible impact that small, seemingly insignificant details can have on a coin's value. The 1985 double die penny has become a symbol of how an error, a mistake in the minting process, can turn a simple coin into a rare treasure. But what makes this particular penny even more remarkable is not just its value. It's the story behind it, the fact that a tiny error, unnoticed by most, could cause such a ripple in the world of numismatics. It shows us that sometimes, it's the little things that matter most. That small imperfection, that tiny doubling of digits, turned a simple penny into a sought-after collector's item. And for those who are lucky enough to find one of these rare 1985 double die pennies, the value continues to rise, making them not just a piece of history, but a potentially life-changing discovery. So, the next time you're looking through your change jar or sorting through your coins, remember this story. That seemingly ordinary penny might just be hiding something extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply someone with an eye for hidden treasures, it's always worth taking a closer look at your coins. After all, a simple 1985 penny could be worth much more than you ever thought possible. And who knows? Maybe your next find could be worth $128,000, just like that one extraordinary penny. The 2000 USA 1-cent penny may appear as just another coin in your everyday change, but like so many seemingly ordinary objects, this penny holds a deeper, more compelling story that extends beyond its modest appearance. As we delve into the history of this particular penny, its design, the minting process, and the rare characteristics that set it apart, you'll soon discover that this coin holds an intriguing tale of its own, and, perhaps most surprisingly, an impressive value that would make any coin collector's heart skip a beat. Let's rewind to the year 2000. It was a time of transition, a pivotal moment at the turn of the millennium. The world was on the cusp of the digital age, with the rise of the internet, the dot-com bubble, and a new sense of anticipation about the future. People were also focused on celebrating the dawn of a new century, and the year 2000 marked the closing chapter of one millennium and the beginning of another. Amidst all this, the United States Mint, tasked with producing the nation's currency, was busy crafting the coins that would continue to circulate through the hands of everyday Americans. Among those coins, one stood out in particular, the 2001 cent penny. At the heart of this penny lies a design that has become iconic over time. Since 1909, the penny has featured the image of President Abraham Lincoln, a tribute to one of America's most revered leaders. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait has graced the obverse, or front side, of the penny for over a century. However, despite this familiar image, the reverse, or back, of the penny has undergone significant changes throughout the years. In 2000, it was time for another transformation. To commemorate the new millennium, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design for the penny, which would appear alongside the traditional Lincoln Memorial. This design marked a departure from the classic portrayal of the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol that had adorned the back of the penny since 1959. Instead, in a nod to the evolving nature of American society and the history of its formation, the U.S. Mint released a new design that would soon become widely recognized. The 2000 penny featured a representation of the Union Shield, a symbol of the United States' unity and strength. The Union Shield, which appears on the reverse of the penny, symbolizes the strength and resilience of the American people. It depicts a shield with 13 stripes, representing the original 13 colonies, and an upper banner that reads, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This powerful design reflects the unity of the nation and the enduring spirit that has carried it through centuries of challenges. It was a fitting design for the turn of the millennium, as it conveyed a message of togetherness and perseverance at a time when the country was looking forward to new beginnings. While this design was certainly an important shift, the real intrigue surrounding the 2000 penny lies not in its artwork, but in the minting process itself. As is often the case with coins, the slightest mistake in the minting process can lead to rare and valuable errors, and the 2000 penny is no exception. Throughout history, there have been countless stories of coins with unique characteristics, be it an accidental doubling of the digits, a misaligned die, or an error in the design. Such coins, when discovered, have been known to fetch impressive sums, as collectors and enthusiasts eagerly seek out these rare finds. One of the most famous varieties of the 2000 penny is known as the 2000 wide AM penny. This particular penny features a noticeable error in the design, specifically, the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse of the coin. For most of the pennies minted in 2000, the spacing between these letters is relatively tight. However, on certain pennies, a subtle but significant misalignment in the die caused the A and M to be further apart than usual, creating a distinct gap that makes these pennies stand out. This error, though seemingly minor, makes these pennies highly sought after among collectors, as they represent a rare mistake in the minting process. In the world of numismatics, it's these kinds of errors that make a coin stand out and, ultimately, increase its value. While most 2000 pennies circulate without any noticeable differences, those with the wide AM error have become prized possessions. But the error isn't the only factor that contributes to the coin's value, its condition also plays a critical role. A 2000 wide AM penny in mint condition, without scratches, discoloration, or wear, is far more valuable than one that has been worn down by years of use. Mint condition examples of the 2000 wide AM penny are incredibly rare, which only further drives up their appeal. Now, you may be wondering, how much can a 2000 penny with this error actually be worth? The answer might surprise you. While most 2000 pennies are worth only 1 cent, still the intended value of the coin, those with the wide AM error, can be worth hundreds, even thousands, of dollars, depending on their condition. The value fluctuates based on demand and the rarity of the particular coin in question. However, there is one exceptional 2000 wide AM penny that stands out as one of the most valuable examples of this error. This particular coin, which was in flawless condition, was sold for an eye-popping amount. With its perfectly spaced AM letters and pristine state, it became the crown jewel of the 2000 penny variety. Collectors were willing to pay top dollar for this nearly perfect specimen, and when it hit the market, it fetched an astonishing $120,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, a single penny, minted for just 1 cent, sold for $120,000. That's the power of rarity, precision, and timing in the world of coin collecting. It's a mind-boggling figure, especially when you think about how many of us overlook pennies every day, casually tossing them into jars or leaving them in our pockets without a second thought. But for those who know what to look for, a single penny can be a treasure trove of history and wealth. The 2000 wide AM penny has become a symbol of how a seemingly simple mistake, something as small as a few extra millimeters between two letters, can turn an ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. This story also highlights a broader truth in the world of numismatics: the value of a coin is determined by much more than just its face value. It's about history, rarity, condition, and sometimes, a bit of luck. For those lucky enough to find a 2000 wide AM penny in their change or in their collection, they could be holding onto a piece of history worth more than they ever imagined. And for collectors who are always on the hunt for rare and valuable coins, the 2000 penny stands as a reminder of how small details can make all the difference. So, the next time you find a 2000 penny in your pocket or in your change jar, take a moment to examine it carefully. Is the A and M of America spaced wider apart than usual? If so, you may have just found yourself a rare and valuable treasure, one that could be worth up to $120,000. Who would have thought that a penny, something so small, could hold such incredible value? In the world of coin collecting, sometimes it's the smallest things that are worth the most. The 2005 USA 1 cent penny might seem like just another coin in your change, but what if I told you there's far more to this little copper piece than meets the eye? Behind its simple design, there's a fascinating history, a striking error, and an incredible value that makes this penny stand out in ways most people would never expect. In fact, the 2005 penny has a story so compelling that it's worth far more than just its face value. Today, we're going to take a closer look at this coin, its design, its minting process, and, most importantly, the rare and valuable error that makes it a collector's dream. Let's rewind to 2005, a year that may seem like it happened just yesterday, but holds a lot of significance in the world of numismatics. It was a time when the world was adjusting to the technological advances of the new millennium. The internet was booming, and social media platforms were beginning to take root. The economy was still buzzing after the dot-com bubble, and people were still getting used to the idea of living in the digital age. But for all the changes taking place in the world around them, the US Mint was working hard to continue its time-honored tradition of minting the country's currency. Among those coins was the 2005 penny, a coin that would soon become a subject of fascination for collectors due to a small but significant error in its design. Before we dive into that error, however, let's first take a moment to appreciate the design of the 2005 penny. The 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny, has a long history that dates back to the late 18th century. Over the years, the penny's design has evolved, and the image of Abraham Lincoln has become a staple. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the penny featured the portrait of the 16th President of the United States, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has remained largely unchanged, with Lincoln's face appearing on the obverse, or front, of the penny for over a century. The reverse side, however, has undergone more frequent changes. Most notably, in 1959, the U.S. Mint replaced the traditional wheat stalks design with an image of the Lincoln Memorial. For nearly 50 years, this image of the Lincoln Memorial served as the back of the penny. But in 2005, the U.S. Mint decided to mark the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth with a new design. The result was a series of pennies that featured 4 different reverse designs, each celebrating a different aspect of Lincoln's life. These designs, known as the Presidency series, were the first new reverse designs for the penny in over 50 years. The first design in this series, which appeared on the 2005 penny, depicts a young Abraham Lincoln in front of a log cabin, representing his humble beginnings in the wilderness of Indiana. The design was simple, yet powerful, as it highlighted the early life of one of America's most beloved presidents. This reverse design was meant to evoke the image of Lincoln's formative years, and it set the tone for the following designs in the series. The obverse of the 2005 penny remained unchanged, still featuring Lincoln's portrait, but while the design of the penny in 2005 was striking and symbolic, the real story lies in a subtle mistake made during the minting process. As is often the case in numismatics, a small error in the production of a coin can make all the difference, turning an ordinary piece of currency into something of great value. And the 2005 penny is a perfect example of how a minting error can elevate a coin into the realm of rare treasures. The error in question is known as the 2005 double die penny. This error occurs when the dies used to strike the coins become misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck multiple times in slightly different positions. As a result, the image on the coin becomes doubled or blurred. This is a relatively rare mistake, and when it happens, the coins are considered highly valuable. The 2005 double die penny, while not as common as other error coins, has become one of the most sought-after varieties of this year's penny. In the case of the 2005 double die penny, the error is most noticeable on the obverse, specifically on the word Liberty and the date 2005. If you look closely at the coin under magnification, you'll notice a faint doubling effect on the letters of Liberty and the digits of the year. The effect is subtle but distinct, and it's a clear sign of a minting error. Not every 2005 penny features this error, but for those that do, the value increases dramatically. So, how much is a 2005 double die penny worth? While the typical 2005 penny is worth just 1 cent, a 2005 double die penny can fetch much higher prices, especially if it's in good condition. Most 2005 double die pennies are worth hundreds of dollars, but some examples, particularly those with a significant doubling effect and in mint condition, can be worth much more. And for the most pristine, rarest examples, we're talking about a coin that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. One particular 2005 double-die penny stands out as one of the most valuable examples of the era. This coin, which was in perfect condition with a strikingly clear doubling effect, was sold for an astonishing $110,000. Yes, you heard that right, a penny, a single 1-cent coin, was sold for $110,000. This sale is a testament to the rarity and value of minting errors, as well as the significance of numismatic history. A coin that was once worth just 1 cent now commands a price that would make most people's jaws drop, but what makes this particular penny so valuable? It's the rarity of the double-die error, the condition of the coin, and the demand among collectors for such a unique piece of history. The 2005 double-die penny with a clear and prominent doubling effect has become a prized possession for coin collectors, and its value continues to rise as more people discover its significance. This coin is a perfect example of how even the most seemingly ordinary objects, like a penny, can hold immense value if they have a story behind them. It's a reminder that in the world of numismatics, small details can make all the difference. A subtle error, a slight misalignment in the minting process, can turn a common coin into a rare treasure. So, the next time you find a 2005 penny in your pocket or in your spare change, take a moment to inspect it closely. Is there any doubling on the letters of Liberty or the numbers of the date? If you spot a double-die error, you could be holding onto a piece of history worth far more than just 1 cent. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the lucky one to find a 2005 double-die penny worth $110,000. In the world of coin collecting, it's these small, subtle errors that can lead to big rewards. A single penny, seemingly insignificant, can hold unimaginable value. So, always keep your eyes open, because you never know when you might discover a hidden treasure in your everyday change. And remember, in the world of coins, sometimes it's the smallest details that make the biggest difference. The 2008 USA 1-cent penny is an unassuming coin, often tossed aside or left to gather dust in jars or wallets. It's easy to overlook its significance, considering how often we encounter it in our daily lives. But what if I told you that this humble penny has a captivating history, a unique design, and a story that could lead to a surprisingly impressive value? The 2008 penny, like so many other seemingly ordinary coins, holds a much deeper and rarer story than what initially meets the eye. In fact, some of these pennies could be worth far more than just 1 cent, and you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Let's take a step back in time to 2008, a year that witnessed a series of historical events that would shape the world. The global economy was in turmoil, the financial crisis was unfolding, and the world was experiencing dramatic changes in technology, politics, and culture. But while the world was shifting in major ways, there was a subtle yet significant change taking place in the world of American currency as well. The U.S. Mint was hard at work, producing the pennies that would make up the nation's currency for years to come. Among those coins was the 2008 1-cent penny, a coin that would go on to capture the attention of collectors for one specific reason, a rare and valuable minting error. Before we get into the story of the error that makes the 2008 penny so special, it's important to understand the design of the penny itself. The penny, or 1-cent coin, has a rich history that dates back to the late 18th century. Over the years, it has undergone several design changes, but one feature has remained consistent: the image of Abraham Lincoln. Since 1909, when the Lincoln portrait was first introduced to the penny to mark the 100th anniversary of his birth, Lincoln's face has appeared on the obverse, or front, of the coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln portrait has become a timeless symbol of the nation's 16th president. The reverse side of the penny, however, has changed several times over the years. For decades, the back of the penny featured the image of the Lincoln Memorial, which was first introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This iconic design remained on the penny for nearly 5 decades. But in 2009, as part of a series of commemorative designs to mark the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design. The reverse of the 2008 penny, however, still featured the familiar Lincoln Memorial. The 2008 penny was part of the last year in which this design would be used before the Mint's transition to the new designs in 2009. The 2008 penny was struck with the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse, with Lincoln's image still appearing on the obverse. But what sets the 2008 penny apart from the rest is not its design, it's the error that occurred during the minting process, a small but significant mistake that would later intrigue collectors. Like many coins, the 2008 penny was produced in large numbers. It was circulated widely, and for the most part, people didn't give it much thought. However, there was a particular variety of the 2008 penny that would go on to become highly sought after, the 2008 wide AM penny. This error occurred during the production process when the die used to strike the coins was slightly misaligned. The result was a subtle but noticeable difference in the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin. While most 2008 pennies were minted with the usual tight spacing between these letters, a small number of coins were struck with a wider gap between the two letters, creating what's known as the wide AM error. At first glance, the difference in the spacing may seem minor, but for collectors, it's a significant error that increases the value of the coin. It's these small, often overlooked details that can make all the difference in the world of numismatics. Collectors are always on the lookout for error coins, and the 2008 wide AM penny quickly became one of the most desirable of its kind. The error is so subtle that it can be difficult to spot, but with the right knowledge and careful inspection, a collector can identify it with ease. So, what makes the 2008 wide AM penny so special? It's the rarity of the error, of course, but it's also the condition of the coin. As with any rare coin, the value of the 2008 wide AM penny depends heavily on its condition. A penny that has been well preserved, free from scratches, discoloration, or significant wear, is much more valuable than one that has been circulated extensively. Coins in mint condition are particularly rare, making them the most coveted by collectors. The 2008 wide AM penny is considered a variety rather than a mass-produced error, which makes it all the more valuable. The number of these coins in circulation is relatively small, which means that finding one is a rare occurrence. And when one of these error coins does hit the market, it often commands a premium price. But just how much is a 2008 wide AM penny worth? While most 2008 pennies are still worth just 1 cent, a wide AM penny can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and the current demand among collectors. In fact, one particular 2008 wide AM penny, in nearly perfect condition with a well-defined error, was sold for an incredible amount. This specific penny, one of the finest examples of the variety, fetched a staggering $102,000. Yes, a single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, was sold for $102,000. This remarkable sale highlights the enormous potential value that even the smallest errors can hold in the world of numismatics. The rarity of the 2008 wide AM penny, combined with its unique error and pristine condition, made it a highly sought-after coin among collectors. So, how does this story relate to you? Well, it's a reminder to always keep an eye out for rare and valuable coins, even those that seem like they're just part of the everyday landscape of change. A penny that you might dismiss as insignificant could, in fact, be worth thousands of dollars. The next time you find a 2008 penny in your pocket or in your spare change, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Could it be a 2008 wide AM penny? If so, you might have just found a rare treasure. In the world of numismatics, it's often the smallest details that make the biggest impact. A subtle minting error, such as the spacing between the letters in America, can turn an ordinary penny into a valuable collector's item. And for those who are lucky enough to discover such an error, the rewards can be life-changing. The story of the 2008 wide AM penny is a testament to how something as simple as a penny can hold a surprising amount of value and history. To wrap things up, remember this: in the world of coin collecting, the value of a coin isn't always determined by its face value. A small mistake in the minting process, a rare error, or a piece of history can transform a simple coin into a prized possession. So, keep your eyes open when you handle your change. You never know, you might just be holding onto a penny worth $102,000.